Good morning. One of my favorite things to do when I meet little people who have just celebrated a birthday is to ask them if they feel different. Do you feel older? And inevitably they will say, yes, I do. Because as children, we spend so much of our time longing for growth, longing to be a grown-up, to be a teenager, to be a middle schooler, whatever it is, to be changed by time. And yet, often, we find that the very behaviors that we had as little people have not changed as we've grown older. That in fact, we carry some of the same behaviors of childhood into adulthood. We ostracize people the way we used to not play with them on the playground. We don't share resources with each other the way we wouldn't share our toys. And we call people names and make fun of them the same way the bully at the bus stop did. Behaviors that should have changed, that didn't. Age not changing us. Yet one thing is true, that every single one of us has been shaped and scarred in some cases by the pain of childhood and the messaging of adults that we received when we were little. A few years ago, actually quite a number of years ago now, a man named Robert Fulghum wrote a book that said everything I ever needed to learn for life, I learned in kindergarten. And he rewrote the foreword 15 years after the first book was published. And he documented a few things that have changed in his own mind since then. And he tells the story of sitting at a stoplight in Santa Fe behind a battered up blue pickup truck. And the truck has a bumper sticker on its tail. And while he was sitting there at the stoplight, the message kept crossing through his mind and sparking new imaginations, things he wanted to communicate. And the bumper sticker said, "Don't believe everything you think." And I thought, wow, that's so powerful. Don't believe everything you think. I've written journals over the years. I don't journal every day, and sometimes it goes weeks and months before I document anything, but usually it's because there are things I want to remember, important insights or things that I've read that I want to recall for later, useful for my life. And when I look back over those journals, a lot of times I will say to myself, good grief, did I really think that? Did I really believe that? And I have taught and lived and probably would have argued in court about the rightness of what I believed at that time. And yet, I no longer think that way. Things that I never would have done, right? I've evolved a little bit. My thinking has changed according to my experiences of my life, as it should. I think what's really important here is that we are aware of the fact that what we once thought was true, what we once held tightly in a grasp, it can be open to change. Not that we have to throw everything out, but that it can be open to change, to insight, to growth, to actually being shaped by the new experiences of our lives, right? We have to allow that in everyone. If it's right for us, it's right for everyone, especially now as our state, our cities, our nation, our world is starting to open up again. It's so important to remember that every single one of us needs to be extended the courtesy of knowing we don't know at what phase the people we're interacting with are. Are they at an earlier phase? Have they evolved in their thinking yet? Are they reflecting at all on what they're thinking? One thing we know is true, and we learned that in kindergarten too. Be nice. Be kind. Be patient. Think a little bit today. What are those beliefs that you used to hold that were rock solid? And how have they been massaged over time? And if they haven't, have we squandered the time? I mean, really, we're older now than we were in kindergarten. Our thinking should have changed a bit. But above all, be nice.